All right, so the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. Let's break this thing down. Stick around. Hey guys, welcome back to Imperial Order. I'm Don Martino. We're going to talk about the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 4, The Gathering Storm. So this episode starts off, Boba Fett's in his bacta tank, and he's healing again. And of course, we're going to go into another flashback. I know a lot of people are going to have a problem with that. Seems to be the talk online, is that these flashbacks are just getting annoying. I myself don't mind them as much, but it's kind of crazy to see that they do continuously just keep doing it. But this flashback in particular, it does last long, but it adds a lot to this episode and this show. I do think the people who haven't been happy online are gonna love this episode. It was great. It was cool to watch, but let's get into the breakdown here. So this shows Boba Fett riding off. He finds Fennec Shand dead, and this is going to tell the story of what happened once he found Fennec Shand. We saw this in The Mandalorian season 1, where he kind of walked up to her after she got shot, and he takes Fennec to this guy who puts like robotic parts into humans, and it's kind of like a tattoo parlor of Tatooine, except it just puts robotic parts into humans, I guess, which did make me question a little bit. If anybody just dies, can they just take any dead person to this tattoo parlor slash droid shop or whatever you want to call it and just have them live again? But I can't deny it's consistent with the world. I mean, people lose limbs in Star Wars all the time and then they replace it with something mechanical. It's happened before, and it kind of makes sense in a way, but the fact that he could just heal people from death is kind of odd to me. But hey, that might be my one little nitpick gripe with this episode. The rest of it is just so awesome and so on point. He drags Fennec over to this campfire. Fennec wakes up and she asks him questions about who he is, and he says he's Boba Fett. And I like that she's like, Boba's dead, because Boba Fett's legendary, right? And I also like that it kind of gave some pretext as to why he would save her in the first place. Obviously, Fennec Shand is somebody who's also legendary in terms of bounty hunting, and he knows this, and I like that that was his motivation. They gave him motivation, because before that I was just like, why would he save this random lady he found dead on the sands of Tatooine? It's been another problem I've had with Mandalorian that is now kind of fixed for me. I'm glad it kind of went back and touched on this a little bit, actually. He tells her, though, hey, look, I'm trying to get my Slave 1 back from Jabba the Hutt's palace. We did see him kind of scoping out the palace right at the very beginning of the episode, and we were always kind of wondering why, I think, up until this point, and that is so he can get his Slave 1 back. And I'm so excited to talk about this stuff, because this stuff is where the episode really starts to heat up. And Fennec's like, okay, I'm gonna go, but in return, my debt is paid for you saving my life. And I'm like, okay, that's actually a really cool dynamic that they're starting to play here with this. So she goes with them to the palace, and it's a really, really good action sequence. I did like watching Fennec take out those guys while Boba went into the ship and took the Slave 1. And they ride off together in the Slave 1, but then there are still some, people that they got to fight off. They're jumping onto the ship, and Fennec's kind of kicking some ass. It was really good action to see, a little bit more stylized than we'd seen in the past on this series, so I was really enjoying that. So Fennec asks him, where are you going now? And he's like, well, I got some scores to settle. And Fennec's like, well, I'll just go along for the ride. And you could really see that Fennec's starting to respect this guy, really start to believe in the idea of Boba Fett still being alive, and I like the dynamic again. I just think these two have such good chemistry on screen. Ming-Na Wen and Tamara Morrison, I mean, they just do so well together, so it's so fun to watch them at any point in time. But this episode is very heavy on the two with them, and that was awesome. So Boba Fett drives on the Slave 1. There's these guys just riding off and these speeders, and Boba Fett comes up with the Slave 1 and takes them all out, and it was just awesome and just a great Boba Fett type moment. And I think a lot of people are going to be very happy with this. It's like the Boba they almost wanted to see this whole time, kind of unhinged. He's kind of still there, right? Like, it's not like he's softened completely. So after the job, I mean, him and Fennec are sitting by this campfire and they're talking, and he's starting to tell her about his plan to build this family. Maybe take over Jabba the Hutt's palace. And Fennec's like, whoa, that's a big deal, because you're going to take out Bib Fortuna. You're going to take over this palace. It's not like it's something that's just going to be easy. But he wants to hire Fennec for her brains and her brawn. And I enjoy Fennec's hesitancy, and what Boba ended up saying which is that he will offer her loyalty unlike anybody in the past. And Fennec kind of calls him out, right? It's the thing that the fans have been saying about the show the whole time, is that kind of hanging with the Tuscans has softened him a little bit, and there might be some truth with that, but on the same hand, Boba's kind of like, no, it's just made me stronger. And to me, what I think he meant by that is the fact that he's realized now he's got the second lease on life, and if he shows loyalty, then other people will show him loyalty. Like he said the whole time, and he's going to rule with respect this time. And I think that's why everybody is kind of having a problem with the show, is because they're not getting that the guy's got a second lease on life. He's going to rule with respect. That's the difference. He understands that now. His whole journey with the Tuscans has shown him that. It's all really good stuff, I think, and it's all starting to make sense and come together. But they're going off to find his Beskar armor, right? And so then they go into the Sarlacc pit with the Slave One. They're kind of hovering over it. He can't see it. And I like that Fennec is like, it must have dissolved in there. Should have anyway. And Boba's like, no, not Beskar armor. Beskar will not dissolve in the Sarlacc pit. This scene was awesome because then they're hovering over and the Sarlacc kind of comes at the Slave One to attack, but then they throw a seismic charge and it goes off in the Sarlacc, and I just thought that was so awesome to see, and it's one of my favorite things about it for sure. Loved watching all of that. That was so cool, and just having Fennec, you know, kind of hitting your random buttons or whatever, and Boba's kind of like, maybe next time don't touch my buttons. That was fun. That was so much fun to watch. And also the seismic charge is one of my favorite sounds in all of Star Wars, so great to see, of course. But then we're kind of like flashing forward / flashing back. We're kind of seeing the end of Mandalorian season 2, where Boba Fett took over the palace again. I like that they just kind of quickly went over this in case you were like a new fan coming into the show. At least you can still see that sequence, but if you want to see it in full, there is a bigger version of it in the Mandalorian season 2. So I just enjoyed that. The way it was all kind of executed just was right. And you can see Boba Fett's got his family together. He's making speeches, and they're just kind of like, hey, why would we respect you? And then the Rancor kind of comes up from the ground, underground, and it's like, it's cool because Boba's almost like made the spiritual connection with the Rancor now, and I really enjoyed that. That was really awesome. It's like, oh my gosh, the show's just coming together so well. So Boba Fett goes to the cantina, and he's kind of met up with Black Chrysanthemum, right? And Black Chrysanthemum is kind of fighting all these guys because he's just pissed. He's pissed about what happened to him. He's just kind of going off on people. And I love the Twi'lek kind of coming up to him and being like, yo, dude, how about this? You walk out of here, I'll forget you had debt with us, and we'll just call it even. And instead, because Black Chrysanthemum's holding this dude up in the air, just crushes the dude, pays her the credits. I was like, oh, that's a badass moment. I was really enjoying that. But Boba's in the bar, you know, he's just like, hey, it was worth a try. But Boba walks out after Black Chrysanthemum, right? And he's like, hey, mate, looks like you need a job. I can get that for you. And yeah, I just love seeing Black Chrysanthemum there. Also, with the dinner, and that was just great. It was great to see how this family is all kind of coming together. So to get into the ending of all this, Fennec is talking to Boba Fett about credits. How many credits do we have? And Boba's like, well, I got credits. And that was really cool. Fennec's like, I don't think you understand. And here's where we're starting to see the brains, right? Because she's like, the credits will buy you the help you need. Then you hear it. Then you hear the Mandalorian theme start to play. And I'm like, well, Din Djarin's going to come in, right? That's my guess of anyway. Like, that's my prediction. And I think Din Djarin will come in to help Boba Fett. And it should be a lot of fun. I'm interested to see where all that goes. So just exciting stuff, guys. I was liking it a lot. Definitely think we're setting up for this Pike War as was set up in the last episode, and a little bit this time. I mean, he's definitely talking to the family about that, and so I'm excited to see where it all goes. Really quick, guys, if anybody could put in the comment section though, whatever happened to the Mos Espa Vespas, because those were gone. That was something that was set up last week and we just never got follow-up to. But okay, whatever, because like I was digging this one a lot more than I was digging last week, so Hey, just if you know what happened to the Mos Espa was put in the comments. I might have missed it, but hey, what did you think of the Book of Boba Fett episode 4? Was it a big improvement for you? I really hope it was. It definitely was for me. And if you didn't like it, what didn't you like about it? I mean, let me know in the comments below if this didn't do anything for you. But hey guys, thank you for joining. This has been Imperial Order. I've been Don Martino. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave some feedback in the comment section, share this with your friends, hit the bell for notifications, and we'll see you guys later.